So what we're going to do, we're going to get right into that. With our first question being asked by Sai. Yes.
Hi, I am Sai Vang, and I'm a Hmong organizing leader with TakeAction Minnesota. On September 26th, we launched the reNEW Minnesota campaign with 850 people from the community attending. I was a part of that kickoff and a part of creating the vision. This is the first time I believe I could really have a say in who is going to be our next governor. I'm excited by that vision, and that's why I'm here tonight. Since that time, what have you done to enact the vision, and how have you incorporated that vision into your campaign?
First of all, thank both of you for facilitating this, and all of you for taking time to be here today. I feel so lucky that I've been part of this community for a long time. A lot of you in this room know that the first time I came to that meeting in September was not the first time I'd been involved in TakeAction. I got involved early on with a little group called the New Party. The New Party eventually became Progressive Minnesota. Progressive Minnesota evolved and became TakeAction when it merged with MAPA, another group that I had been very involved with. And the vision that we have is a vision that says that everyone's going to have opportunity and that we're going to work together. A lot of you know that I grew up down in Worthington. Worthington's a little teeny town way out on the southwestern prairie. And when I was 15 years old, my father, very sadly, left our family. He was an alcoholic and full of pain, and he took off. And we were left with a situation where we left a lot of debt, and we lost our home. We had no health care, and we were facing the streets. And I didn't even have a name I could write on. Entenza, let's face it, it's not exactly a name brand. My family wouldn't even name me Entenza or Anderson or something like that. Some of you may have heard me say this, but people wonder, well, what's an Entenza? Entenza is actually, it's an obscure translation, but it's Norwegian for governor. And it encapsulates the vision. We come from many places and many countries. But we have a vision about opportunity. Now, if I had been born in a state like Alabama or Mississippi or even South Dakota, and I grew up close to South Dakota, I wouldn't have had many opportunities. But I grew up in a state that believed that we invest in the future. And that means we invest in our young people, and we need a governor that's going to do that. We need to have a vision for how we're going to grow the state. I believe that vision is about the new clean energy economy. People want to know how we're going to create jobs. 26 years ago, I decided to major in college in environmental studies because I believe that was the way forward. Candidates all talk about jobs, but you need a candidate with a vision of where we're going to go. And I believe that that vision, the clean energy economy, is the way we not only save the environment, but it's the way that we create an opportunity culture so that we're paying ourselves for energy, and that not only cleans up our environment, but our foreign policy. And it makes sure that everyone can become winners in Minnesota.
I've got a follow-up question. With our vision, we have the things that we are for, but we also have the things that we reject in Minnesota. That's happening now. Wondered if you had thought about those at all, and has anything in our vision made a difference in your message and how you approach people?
Well, the way I like to think of it is part of the opportunity culture is we want everyone to have opportunities. And that means that there are certain things that we believe we can't do. And that is endorse sort of the old ways of thinking, which is that racism, which often permeates our society, is acceptable. Or I think one of the biggest civil rights crises we clearly have in our country is homophobia. And that plays itself out in all sorts of insidious ways. We need a culture that says that everyone has opportunities. If you're from a little town or you're from the big town, if your skin is white or black, if you're Native American or others. I'm real proud of the fact that in my campaign I've reached out to so many different communities that we have. The overwhelming majority of leaders, elected officials in the communities of color have endorsed me. I believe the finest progressive leader that we have in this state who's an elected official is Congressman Keith Ellison, who's supporting me along with hosts of other elected leaders like him.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Now we have the next one. It's Mai, who's going to ask the next question.
Representative Entenza. My name is Mai Thor. I'm on the board of TakeAction. Thanks for being with us tonight. There is no doubt that Minnesota's budget is facing some tough challenges right now that will carry well into your term if you're elected governor. In the name of no new taxes, we have felt the effects of disinvestment in Minnesota for far too long. Just this year, instead of raising taxes to maintain and fund the programs that are so important to us, there was a massive budget cut, and that directly affects the people of Minnesota that needs those programs the most. For example, I know a lot of people with disabilities who rely on personal care attendants, and their quality of life and their independence has been reduced because their programs have been cut. Part of the problem is that most candidates have been afraid to challenge the idea that taxes are bad. If you are elected governor, how will you approach these challenges, and specifically, how will you use your campaign to build political support for raising new taxes, new revenues during your administration?
I not only have a track record, but I have a successful track record. And I think of all the elected officials who are running, and obviously I was leader of the Democrats in the State House, when you look at performance, it's not just talk, it's actually making it happen. But I think the first thing we have to look at is, our goals are not to raise revenue. Our goals are to make sure that we have an opportunity society. And we can't mix up means with goals. So that's the goal. The question is, how are we going to get to that goal to make sure that no one goes without health care? That people like yourself who happen to have some sort of disability or what have you, have the services you need so that you can achieve the opportunities that you want. When I was elected leader of the House Democrats in 2002, we were 28 seats in the minority. And I had a lot of folks who said, Matt, why do you even want to do this job? It's going to be hopeless. Democrats are going to be out of power for years. And I did it because I believed that we weren't the kind of state that was the state that believed that our only policy should be no new taxes, because that's what the so-called conservatives spend all their time on, is no new taxes. And we went around the state and recruited candidates, and we campaigned on an explicit promise that we would raise taxes on the well-to-do, which have never been lower than they are now, and that we would reinvest that money in education and in health care and in our communities. Now, in 2005, a lot of you will recall, we had a government shutdown.